with HIV and AIDS. The policy covers the following scope of principles for staff. It is about testing, the confidentiality and disclosure clause, non-discrimination, employment and promotion, dismissal, benefits, sick leave, a safe working and learning environment. And this is a demonstration that Unisa got involved with its stakeholders to develop the necessary guidelines to support staff and students. So in the very same policy, there are also guidelines and principles for students that covers the following matters: recruitment, selection, admission and continued education, testing for students, general assistance and grievance procedures. So to everyone here present, I can honestly say that Unisa is involved to support their employees and their students. For everyone present here today, just a brief and short message, because this is just to welcome every one of you. In order to make a meaningful difference though, we need your involvement, your presence and your cooperation. Employees and students, we are present here today, have a co-responsibility to create a safe learning environment and also a working environment. Not only here at Unisa, but also outside in your community. So I leave you with a brief message to say, snap out of apathy and get involved. Somebody must get involved. And you that are present here today, you are involved, and I thank you. So with these few words, colleagues and students, I declare this meeting open. Thank you very much, Zuleika.
Thank you, Ms. Founder, for those wise words. In the midst as well, we do have another Deputy Director present, Dr. Jacobs. He's sitting right there at the back, so I guess he doesn't want to be part of management in front. Thank you. We're now going to go to just a brief introduction of what is HCT and what is it all about. We are joined by our colleague from the main campus, from the HIV/AIDS division at Unisa, part of Employee Relations and Wellness. Sister Muchumi will come forward and just give a brief introduction about it. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation and good morning, everybody. My name is Kiepile Muchumi. As I have been introduced, I'm one of the health campus nurses with Unisa. Unfortunately, we have two clinics, Florida Clinic and Maternal Clinic, and we are supposed to be supporting the regional campuses, especially with campaigns. And I would like just to talk about why campaigns. Campaigns, as you all know, is a way of making people aware of any scourge in the community. Say, for example, TB, anything that has to do with health and which really do impact negatively on society and on communities. So why Unisa? Why the role of Unisa in HIV and AIDS campaigns? Unisa has the responsibility to make its community meaning students, staff, everybody that has to do with Unisa, and the community at large, because sometimes we do go to other communities to assist. The role of Unisa is to see to it that everybody knows their HIV status. As I have just alluded to, the fact that, these health situations, they do impact negatively on communities. And why are we supposed to be testing? We all know that when we are positive, nobody can wake up in the morning and say, I am positive, when you have not tested. We test because we have the responsibility to know our status in order that we are able to can access health facilities soonest, so before the impact of the condition just bogs us down. And then we test to protect ourselves and to protect others. And we all know that if you are not aware of your status, you behave as who cares. But immediately you know your status, you know your responsibility. The responsibility is to further protect yourself and otherwise protect others. And you are able then to can live as normally as possible with the virus when you know. If you don't know, it will run rampant, and obviously it will have disastrous results. Therefore, you have to know your status. This is why we conduct such campaigns. And as I had said, then you'll be able to access health programs. We are all aware of what the government is trying to assist in as far as HIV is concerned. We are saying you can live as normally as is possible with the virus if you know your status, and the health department is ready to assist you in any other way for you to stay a productive member of the community. And especially with the tertiary institutions, it would be very useless for us to invest a lot of money into a program such as education, where when somebody finishes school, he or she is HIV positive and he has so long to live. So we are saying, okay, you are HIV positive, so what? You are still normal, you are still alive, you are still productive. If you do 1, 2, and 3, and it is our duty to tell you, to make you aware of what it is that we are saying when we are saying you still can be as productive as is possible when you do this and this and this, and the information you can get from health programs that are offered through universities, through all other spheres of the society, in order for you to access to keep or remain normal with your HIV status. I think that is all that I wanted to say for now. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, bye.
Okay, I've never used one of these before, so. Good morning all. I would like to start by saying thank you to Mr. Bruce Banda for inviting us to join them here this morning, and for giving us the opportunity to come inform some more students about the Forum for Students with Disabilities. My name is SJ. I'm visually impaired myself, and I am the secretary for this Forum for Students with Disabilities. I was asked to do a brief introduction here this morning. As I said, I am visually impaired, and it has affected my studies here at Unisa a great deal, and as well as my daily life. Enough about me though. Who are we and why are we here today? The Forum for Students with Disabilities, as the name implies, are here for students with disabilities. We are here to inform students, disabled students, of their rights, of the tools and services that Unisa provide to aid them in their studies, as well as to serve as a platform for them to raise their voice, for them to bring grievances to light, and to bring suggestions for Unisa, for ways in which Unisa can further aid them in their studies. Why are we here this morning? We are here to raise awareness for the forum and to invite any disabled students out there to join us at our next meeting. We usually meet on the first Saturday of each month. Unisa wants to become a leader in higher education for students with disabilities. Just one of these ways, the ways they want to do this, or they are doing this, is they recently established the lab for students with disabilities. It's right over there. It is equipped with computers with a lot of features for various disabilities. Just one of the things is they have large print keyboards for people like me. They also have screen reading software for people that are completely blind, for them to use computers without the assistance of anybody. I would now like to hand it over to Mr. Kumalo. He is the Oxford Administrative Officer, and he will speak on disability and HIV and how the two relate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SJ, for that introduction. I must say it feels good to have a private introduction, from someone. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think one of the key issues that we need to focus on, especially relating to HIV and AIDS, is to look at the ways how persons with disabilities are more at risk for infections than what we know. Yes, for example, how do I know this? You find that there are a lot of prevailing attitudes. You find that there are these false perceptions that people with disabilities don't have sex. People with disabilities are, if I can use the term, asexual, which is not true, because people with disabilities are sexual beings. I mean, you find what we call these myths and stigmas around sleeping with a person with a disability will cure you from your HIV. It is what is happening within societies today. And we are here to say that all of this could not be further from the truth. If you look at risk factors, ladies and gentlemen, you'll find that having unprotected sex is a great risk, whether you have a disability or not. I mean, if you look at a person who is blind, what assurance does a person who is blind have that the condom that they use, for example, A, is not tampered with, B, is not damaged, or C, hasn't even expired? So they would trust their partner to do that. But doesn't that take away from the person's right to know, to be able to have access to his strength, to his knowledge about safe sex? Do we see the risk there? Let us go and talk about sexual violence. Yes, we know in general women are at risk, but how much more so women with disabilities? Where you find instances where sexual rights of women, especially women with disabilities, are being null and void. Because how can they negotiate the terms of sex with their partners? They can't. Because if the woman says to a partner, look, these are the terms under which I want to have sex. I want to be protected. I want us to have condoms and so on. What will the male partner say? Listen, if you don't give me, I'll go outside. And then come back and give you the disease. Do we see the risk? We also have another feature, which is access to education, sex education. And this is easily referred to, if I can think of our deaf community. I mean, as recently as about 10 years ago, we found that there hadn't been words to describe what is AIDS, signage, to describe what is AIDS, to describe what is HIV. So there again, do you see the risk of how people with disabilities are in danger for these infections? If we look at another component, that the access, the way and the manner within which information is being disseminated, many of them never come or reach adequate within the disability sector, because the ATT campaigns and bless them because they are doing a great job. When they package that information, it does not get delivered in a context within which a person with a disability can understand. I just want to speak on one of the other risk factors about a woman that we know of in one of the villages where she had a mental disability and she was sexually abused by men within that village. Nobody knew it. The only time when that came out was when she infected all of those men with STIs. But then, okay, fine, be that as it may, the case got reported. But because this woman with this disability could not relay the message much better, the case didn't see the light of day. So now I ask you again, am I right in saying that people with disabilities are at risk? I need to also speak about how the information factor is so important for us. Because when you see a person with a disability, more often than not, they are dependent on certain medications to assist them. Now you find students or persons with disabilities who are HIV positive. Very little information gets disseminated as to how whatever treatments that they are on would be impacted by them using their medication. Very little information is available on that. All right, now I don't want to go on with a gloomy picture. I think we can deal with that on some other time. But I do think that in order to reach the disability community relating to HIV and AIDS, we need to firstly deal with aspects of attitude. Attitudes towards persons with disabilities. These attitudes that says, we don't have sex, or sometimes when you go to a health facility and you want, maybe you're asking condoms, you know, you get looked upon as though, what are you going to do with this thing? Make balloons for your baby or whatever. But those are the challenges that we face. We need to change people's attitudes when they look at how HIV and AIDS affect the disability sector. Secondly, the role of women. The role of women must not be separated when it comes to women and women with disabilities. Because if we don't strengthen and empower our women folk, the cycle will just repeat itself over and over. Then finally, I believe that we need to have access to information. Information packaged in such a way that will enable people and persons with disabilities to understand and then to take ownership of their sexual rights and then begin to steer the community. Ladies and gentlemen, I would not want to depress all of you, but these are the challenges that the disability sector is facing. These are real. These are not thumbs-up issues. These are bread and butter risk factors that I'm talking about. But I think right here and now, one-on-one as well, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jabbar Mohammed. He is the Provincial Director for DEFSA, who will speak on issues such as deaf culture, how even within the deaf community themselves, the risks of HIV and AIDS. And I think also just to speak to you as this is indeed also Deaf Awareness Month. Thank you.
I'm using sign language. The interpreter will voice. An interpreter will voice everything that I'm saying. So if I'm signing with a different ways, then the interpreter will voice it. So it doesn't mean that he is my third person. He's just a sign language interpreter. So he's actually having access to the deaf person. My name is Jabbar Mohammed. I'm a provincial director of DEFSA for the Western Cape. What is the name again? Mr. Byrne? he contacted me. He want me to do the 5 minutes presentation. I said 5 minutes presentation in my language. When I'm signing, actually, the interpreter needs more time. So then he actually gave me 10 minutes. So please, can you take my time? Okay. Before I start, a lot of people think that people can't hear, they can't actually drive, they feel ashamed of them, how they can drive, how they walk, or anyway. So, but I'm a normal person actually. We all the same. I'm going to toilet. I can go anywhere. I can have sex also. So we also the same. Like the nurse says earlier, different ways of people get HIV, and how to protect them. That was good. That was perfect information. But deaf people, they don't actually get full information. Yes, you are speaking actually. You announce the information, yes, but the deaf people, what about them? The language is where? Can they understand what you say? No. So you need 2 different ways for access for deaf people, like for example, a sign language interpreter. To start something, you must make sure that they understand. For example, if you're using a deaf person coming in front and then you teach a deaf person, he can also become a sign language interpreter. So then the deaf person can also sign what you say in the conference or anywhere. So you can't also say that or force the deaf people that they must go to do the test, so they won't actually feel comfortable. So far, I'm working for the deaf community, almost 9 provinces. I've seen in my eyes how actually the hearing people oppress the deaf people or discriminate. They discriminate in different ways. Imagine discrimination like in rural areas, same in the city as well. Now they will say that, oh, they are deaf people, they can't speak, they will only speak with their hands. No. I feel like today at Unisa, you can do something to make sure the accessible for deaf people. And also to train deaf people the human rights, or like as you see me what I'm signing actually, how Jebai is speaking actually, how does he hear? I do also that maybe you have some questions. How did he grow up actually? How did he become deaf? So I know that you have different questions. So I also have questions about you, like maybe some are wondering, maybe that person is married or not, and that one is not married actually. So we can meet and ask me, then like we are human beings, like for instance, like the one woman here at the back, she actually came to me and says to me that she likes the way we speak. That was perfect actually. You must come, don't feel ashamed or to be shy. But the point is, about the HIV, you know languages, the terminology. Different people from different backgrounds. People don't know what is STI, HIV positive, HIV negative, or AIDS. There are actually definitions. They actually advertise on TVs, but still it's spreading. It's because people don't understand what does it mean. The reality, if I'm going for a test, I will actually be afraid, and because the deaf people, they will also feel embarrassed or feel ashamed that when they go for a test. Maybe they will think that I will be positive, or there will be access for counselor. So all those are there. So all people there are actually lack of avoiding to testing. So we also provide people with the condoms, because it's still not accessible because of language barriers. But I understand the deaf community, not only the deaf people, but some. The bottom line is, if you have, okay, like for instance, if you test, you must make sure that you provide a sign language interpreter. Sign language interpreter also follow the codes of ethics. Also the doctors and nurses, they have the codes of ethics, also the social worker. Also, the interpreters, they know, when you book the interpreters, actually, you must actually go to the appointment. Maybe you are worried that the interpreter will actually spread that you are HIV positive. No, the interpreter is not actually there to take what has been said inside. So if the person is testing, so is the one who's responsible to book the interpreter. The health agency is supposed to book the interpreters, not the deaf person. As you see, the interpreters, they are talking to each other because they work as a team. If a person actually comes to me and says something and then I will sign, maybe like for instance you want to book an interpreter, you must book an accredited interpreter, not just a fake interpreter, family interpreter, interpreter's mistake. You can't actually use your sister. I must use a registered interpreter. So please, ladies and gentlemen, in future, if you want to use a service, you must use an accredited sign language interpreter to access information. Also, the terminology for the deaf for sign language is we can, so the children can. Meaning sign language is for anybody. When we finish, like I will give you a sign like this to clap the hands. I mean, you want actually clapping hands. For a blind person, you raise up your hands and then you will wave. So clap your hands. In sign language, like this. Thank you.
The music man will play some music for us, and please come forward and have your signature on the board. Thank you very much.
Hey!